Hi, everyone. Welcome again to another episode of the Third and 10 podcast. We are now in season 3, episode 18, and we wish you guys a happy Thursday as we are recording this. I'm your host, Nathan Nguyen, joined by my guy, Brian Gemino. We got a fun one for you guys today. A few NFL topics to discuss, some college football talk for the first time this season of the show. And yeah, we're looking forward to talking about it today. So, Brian, first off, my guy, how you doing? Anything new on your end?
I'm doing good. I wanna send my thoughts are with the Colorado Rockies fans right now because not only are they immersed in one of the worst seasons in MLB history,
Yes.
but they just keep finding new and new ways to embarrass themselves. So as of about an hour ago, the Rockies announced that Greg Fiesel, their president and COO, is stepping down after this season. And guess who will be replacing him?
I cannot think who.
It is Walker Monfort. Now, that name sounds familiar. It's because he's Dick Monfort's son, the owner of the Colorado Rockies. That's right. His son will be running the team as it just continues to get worse and worse for the Rockies. The nepotism gets worse. Unless this guy is Billy Haywood, this is going to be an absolute disaster.
Oh boy. And the son is gonna be. Oh wow. Okay. Well,
Running the team, running everything. Like, not just like he will be kind of more on the business side because he's not president of baseball operations. But if you're team president, you have your hands everywhere.
well, I'm looking at it, and apparently he's worked in every area of the Rockies, has a deep experience. Um,
No. It's not experience. It's daddy owns the team.
yeah, I'm looking. I mean, he has some experience. Apparently,
Because his dad owns the team, he
because
was
of that as
forced
a
to be
team.
hired. Everyone
Yeah,
has to be nice to him.
yeah. He's been involved with the ground crew, game day promotions, ticketing, visiting a house. Oh no, that's wrong. The that's the other Montfort. Oh no, this is Montfort. Oh no, never mind. This is I'm reading the press release right now, and I'm trying to. This is a long ass
Just
press
read the
release.
comments. They'll tell you more of the story.
The Montforts are the Lannisters of baseball. Lanceters of baseball.
The Lannisters.
Nepotism. Lannisters.
Lannisters.
Nepotism.
As Lanister.
Yes.
Lannisters.
Another
Game of Thrones.
Montfort. Ah, another Montfort. What could go wrong? Nepotism hire.
Exactly.
Never mind. That's all I need to know. But like, yeah, Colorado, like, man, they're an organization that needs just a deep cleaning of everything.
I know in the 90s, MLB considered I don't even know what they called it, but they considered getting rid of the Expos and the Twins altogether because they're just horribly run. They need to reapproach that with the Rockies. Like, just end the Rockies and then wait 2 years and then bring them back and make sure Montfort is in another country when you bring that stuff back.
Hey, they're on a, like you mentioned, they're well on pace to having the worst season in MLB history. But hey, at least they can do it under a new person.
It's no, they're doing it under a worse person.
I'm just
You
trying to
actually
find
got worse.
positive.
This is a team that needs to use data because of their ballpark, and they have the worst run analytics department in the entire league. Makes no sense.
Well, maybe
Like, I watch videos and like guys are like, pitching at course field is hard, but this is how you do it, and they like break down like, okay, this pitch kind of moves more, this pitch moves less. You focus on this. And like, these guy in a 30-minute video broke down how to do Rockies, how to pitch in course field. Why don't the Rockies just hire him?
because they want to hire in house. And yeah, so I have nothing to say about Colorado. Honestly, they're just so bad. Maybe they have one or two players that might get traded at the deadline.
Bird, Goodman's not going anywhere. Goodman will take a haul because I think he has like 4 years of team control left.
The poor guy.
So yeah.
He's like the
I
only.
mean, if the Rockies like really want to capitalize and rebuild the farm system that they're going to ruin anyway, they could move him and probably get a couple top, nothing like the Soto trade, but they could get a couple, at least one top 100 prospect for him and a couple top 10 prospects in a team organization. But what's that mean? What prospects have they developed over the past year?
If you play for the Rockies, I just wonder how you feel when you wake up. Like, yeah, you're thankful that you're playing in like Major League Baseball, but at the same time, it's like
it's
wake up,
demoralizing. Is what it's
it's
gotta
like
be. As someone that worked for a team that was historically bad, like I worked for the Bridgeport Islanders this past year, and we won the least amount of home games in AHL history. It is demoralizing going to that rink. Going to the ballpark must be even worse because, like, the media attention for the American Hockey League is a fraction of what it is for the Major League Baseball. So, like, not only do you suck, but the entire country knows it.
Plus, you're like in there. What's up? They've set like I think a lot of records. Well, not a lot of records, but they set some notable records in terms of their records so far this season. I think I forgot what records they set. What did they do wrong this? I mean, of course, they did a lot of things wrong this year so far.
They've done a lot wrong.
Yeah, let's just leave it at that because they're bad, man. They're terrible. But hey, maybe they can turn things around. Who knows? Probably not. But if you're the Rockies fan, just hang in there. The next year will hopefully.
It stinks because Rockies fans like are good fans. They show up. They're averaging like 35,000 a game. Like Rocky fans games, they draw people. Like they get high attendance, and it stinks that this owner won't put a good product on the field for them and just continues to just do moves that don't work.
The only thing I can say for Colorado is at least you have the Broncos.
Yeah.
Hang on, boys.
Yeah, because the Nuggets are going to trade Jokic in a few years, so that's out the window.
Yeah, for some reason I thought it was the owner or the GM. No, it's the owner.
The owner
was talking about that. He was like,
you might want to drug test that owner because what was he on when he said that?
He was like, I don't want to have to contemplate trading number 15. I'm like, you shouldn't be contemplating anyway. So why are you bringing this up? Like he's trying to stir headlines or trying to act like some smart guy or try to whatever.
I know it's not a 1-for-1 comparison, but did you not see how Mavericks fans reacted when they guys traded Luka? You don't think it would be a similar reaction if you traded Jokic? I know it won't be as big because Jokic is 5 years older than Luka, so like it's a little different, but he's beloved in that city. If you trade him, they're going to burn it.
You'll be out of your mind if you traded him. Like the way that the Mavericks fans called for Nico's head, it's gonna be the same thing with the Nuggets GM.
And Jokic won them a championship.
Exactly, multiple-time MVP, which Luka has not done quite yet in his NBA career. So you're trading away a more of a superstar in terms of his resume.
Yeah.
Compared to
a potential
Luka.
All-time great player.
Yeah.
The best player they've had since Carmelo Anthony.
And there's like no package out there that would lead people to think or to say
Giannis
that Denver would win a trade. Even
then, it's not great. But if you could sell them that we're getting Giannis plus a few other pieces, I think Nuggets fans could get behind it because at least you're replacing a superstar for a superstar.
Yeah, but that's like the minimum starting point. You can't go below that.
Yeah, no, which you would have to because that you're only limited to like the Bucks, the Lakers. That's it, really.
If you want to get crazy, OKC, but there's no way they're trading. They're
not.
But that's the starting point.
The only guy they would move out of that big three.
Mm-hmm. But Shea would be like the starting point because that's like the.
And they're not. Shea is untouchable in any trade negotiation right now. Coming off the best year of his career.
No doubt about it. 3 MVPs this season. NBA the regular season MVP. Western Conference MVP. Western Conference Finals MVP, I should say, and then Finals MVP. So they had their parade a few days ago. And I mean, I heard it wasn't that hype, I guess.
I think a lot of the hype was in the arena. I think a lot of the fans are in the arena.
Mm-hmm. Because I think before the Thunder, the past few champions, they've won the championship on the away team's floor. So it makes sense. It makes sense
Yeah.
there. But yeah, we got a lot of notable topics to talk about. We'll start the show with Aaron Rodgers, talking about he'd actually discussed this on Tuesday on the Pat McAfee show, but we didn't get to it really because of the other things that we had on the agenda. But we'll touch quickly on Rodgers, talking about how 2025 will be his last season in the NFL. We'll then talk about an interesting topic in regards to the NFL as well, being involved in collusion with the players, so or with teams, I should say. So that'll be something to discuss and kind of learn about together here. We'll also discuss our college quarterbacks to watch this upcoming season, and then finally the Mets may have gotten themselves out of their
They gotta
little
win.
slump.
They
They
have a
gotta
win.
win. I
That's all that
know.
matters. We gotta
That's all
win.
that matters, baby. They got their first win, not quite like yeah, their first win in quite some time. Kind of
No, it was
getting
our first
themselves
win in
out.
almost a week. We
Yeah,
had
there
one
you
since
go.
Saturday.
That's some time. But yeah, shout out to the Mets fan. Juan Soto had a heck of a game on Wednesday. So we'll discuss all that at the end of the show. All right. First order of business, Aaron Rodgers, baby. So apparently now we know why him and the Steelers agreed on a 1 year deal. It's because he's done after this upcoming season. So when Rodgers appeared on the Pat McAfee show and he was talking about 2025 and whatnot, I guess he didn't want or need the Steelers to put any extra years on his contract because he just wanted to just call it quits after 2025. Talked about how he just wants to finish his career with a lot of fun and peace for the career that he's had, which spans over 20 years. About to be his 21st season, I believe, heading into this year. He talks about how there's no better place he wants to finish his career with than one of the cornerstone franchises in the NFL and being coached under Mike Tomlin and have a great group of guys in terms of leadership and guys around him is why, he wanted to spend his last year with the AFC North team. But for him, there's no chip on his shoulder. He doesn't feel the need to prove or have a desire to prove anything to anybody this year. Yeah, that's what he said. He just wants to just give the Steelers everything he's got, empty the tank, and be comfortable and be satisfied with however the season goes. And also talk about whenever he is. So when he is done in the NFL, he will disappear from the naked eye. I just want to get your thoughts on that real quick because I'm not surprised.
The least surprising headline of all time.
Yeah,
Like even if Rodgers wanted to play past this season, nobody was gonna do that for him outside of maybe the Steelers.
yeah,
Like the Steelers kind of are in transition right now. They kind of want to go to Will Howard. They'll probably draft a quarterback in this upcoming draft. I'm not surprised. We all knew this was a 1 year rental. We all knew this Rodgers was a bridge guy. That's what he is at this point in his career. He's a guy to bridge you to the next team.
yeah. And based off last year, I felt like he had a couple years left in him, but I think it's to the point where
he didn't look great last year.
He looked decent. I think he wasn't that bad. Like of course,
he was not that he was that bad, but he had games where he should have had the game-winning drive, and he just made stupid mistakes. Like that game in London against the Vikings comes to mind immediately, where he was leading the team on a game-winning drive and threw a game-losing interception.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about that game, by the way. You said it was against Minnesota.
Yeah, it was Minnesota, and it was overseas. It may not have been London, but it was in Europe.
29-54, 2 touchdowns but 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
And for a guy that doesn't turn the ball over too much, that game was not.
They lost that game because of Rodgers, because he just could not limit the mistakes.
Yeah,
which is not something Rodgers did back. Like Rodgers was never this gunslinger quarterback. He was kind of always like really high touchdown numbers to low interceptions.
Yeah, and he still is. Look at his career numbers. He has a 1.4% interception rate, which is an all-time record.
Yeah,
ever in a career. But those games like that, and he had a couple other bad games as well, including a 1 touchdown, 2 interception game against the Steelers, ironically, which was a loss, 37-15. He had his share of bad games this year, but with that, he did have some good ones as well. He still finishes over 3,800 passing yards, which was 8th best in the league. Had 28 touchdowns, which was tied for 7th in the league. QBR though was a bit low. At 48, which is tied for set, or which was actually seventh worst in the NFL last year in terms of starting quarterbacks. But look, at the end of the day, I think to me, those numbers. I know the QBR was pretty bad, but like there were times where like he had those good games last year when I'm thinking to myself like, you know what, I think he can have a couple years left in him. But when your love for the game just isn't there anymore, I get it. And for him to just say like, hey, I want to play one more year, just give the Steelers everything I got, and no matter what happens, just be satisfied. That's fine. I don't blame him. He's had a heck of a career in the
Oh,
league. Four,
he's destined for Canton.
yeah,
There's no
yeah,
question about that.
four-time All Pro, four-time MVP, one-time Super Bowl champion. He's done it all. So for him to say I have nothing to prove to anyone, I don't blame you. Now the Steelers are going to be competitive with him under center. There's no doubt about it. They're going to be more competitive compared to if they had to go to Will Howard,
But still, like,
or
how
Mason Rudolph.
competitive do you really see them? Like, I see them as a 10-win team at best.
At best, a wild card team, and
Yeah,
I'm
like they're not winning the
talking
division. I really
no,
think they'll go 8-9. I really think they're an 8-9 bound team. But
yeah,
maybe they sneak a couple wins and get 9 or 10 wins. But they're 8-9 at best.
yeah. Maybe they'll sneak in. Yeah, so honestly, they'll. I think we talked about this before. They'll probably sneak in like the 7th seed, at best, and that's just because of how competitive the AFC is. Um, but yeah, he look, he doesn't care. He just wants to play one more year and
I
just
was on the sidelines. He doesn't care.
yeah, no,
He stopped caring a long time ago.
yeah. Um, and like if he was completely checked out, he would not play this year. But I guess he just still wants to just play one more year, just
I
to
think
kind of
there's a
like to
deep
really release all of his love for the game out.
Yeah, I think there's also a deep desire in him to win one more Super Bowl because you said there's nothing left for him to prove. The one thing he would have to prove would to be a multiple time Super Bowl winner. That's the one blemish on his resume is that he only won one with
One.
how good he played.
Mm-hmm. And that's probably not going to happen. I mean, I
No,
remember
God, no, that's not happening. But like you're like saying
barring
there's
some
nothing left to prove, but
miraculous.
like, there is one more thing. If you can get to that, just that elite, that
Mm-hmm.
the next level group with guys
Yeah.
like Peyton and Joe Montana and Brady and Eli Manning for some reasons here.
Mm-hmm. So, boy, look, he's had a hell of a career. I'm looking forward to see what he can do this upcoming year. Probably won't, do too much to lead the Steelers to much success, but as long as for us fans to just see him kind of end his, career on a solid note, I think that'd be the best case scenario here for the 41-year-old quarterback who will not be playing until he's 45 like Tom Brady did. But still, like we mentioned, heck of a career, and we'll definitely see him in the Hall of Fame when he is eligible. But for the Steelers, this does give them another year to do their homework. Yes, they drafted Will Howard, but there's better options out there. Yeah, there are. In this upcoming or in the 2026 draft, they will definitely do their homework and see where the chips may fall in terms of their record and where their draft or where their first round draft pick will fall after this upcoming season. Plus, they can also look at the free agency market as well next year, which is headlined by Daniel Jones, apparently.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Okay. I take
there's.
Rodgers' corpse over Daniel Jones right now.
Oh, I know you would, and I would too, my friend.
We didn't talk about Daniel Jones on the fantasy show the other day. I'm like, come on, we're talking
How
way
was
too
that?
much
I
about
didn't watch
Daniel
that yet.
Jones.
What was said about him? I didn't watch it yet.
What would be the best case scenario in Indy? I'm like,
Oh.
you can just be a game manager and not turn the ball over every single
Just
time he touches it.
do exactly what you did in 22, and you'll be that's a
I don't
playoff
think you can
spot.
do that anymore because the rushing upside's not there anymore.
Well, unless Shane Steichen really taps into that more. I mean, sure,
I know,
Indy's
but
offense.
that ACL injury is a tough one to come back from.
That is true. That is true. But he over a year removed from that now, right? From
Yeah,
the
so he should be
ACL.
back to full health.
Yeah, he'll be
But
good.
like he's
I
older.
believe.
I don't believe
I know you
he'll
don't.
be in the UFL in 2 years. Mark my
Oh,
words.
that'd be fun too.
No, it
Wait,
wouldn't.
whatever team he
It would
goes
just make
to.
spring football less appealing for
No,
me.
I think I know he's had some success in the NFL, which could translate to a lot more success in the UFL. I think it'd be fun to watch. What like if he goes to a team, I'll become a fan of that team. I don't like the UFL is a league I barely even watched this past year.
I think I watched one game, and it was like the last 2 minutes of the game.
Yeah. I mean, it's not bad. I do like the in-depth coverage of it in terms of like you can hear like the coach play calls and the players like calling out the plays or what they're saying during the game. That's cool. I just it's not the NFL, and I hate to be a hater, but it's just not the NFL, and I just don't I didn't have much interest in it. Um, but they
It's
had a
minor
lot more.
leagues. You're watching them. They're basically
Yeah.
playing AAA games on TV. No one's
Hmm.
watching the triple. No one's watching AAA.
Yeah, and they had a lot more success this year compared to last year. I think viewership increased and whatnot. Um, but for me and you, it's not the NFL. And it's not something that we much really discussed on this podcast.
I didn't even
That
know what was
much
going
that
on.
yeah. I mean, they play the games on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but yeah, it wasn't. Maybe we'll discuss it next year. Who knows? I
I can guarantee you
maybe
we're
when Daniel
not.
Jones or maybe when Daniel Jones or some notable player from the NFL who was a backup joins the league to get a starting spot there. Maybe we'll talk about it then. But it's just it's more of a topic that's I guess it's a topic not worth discussing as much because we talk about
Nope.
the NFL and MLB and all that stuff. But we'll stay on the topic of the NFL. This was an interesting topic that it's not like it's under the radar per se, but rather didn't make too many headlines. It's not something that you'll find much on Sports Center, from what I know. Um, but yeah, this was a interesting topic to research and learn about, and I hope you guys, if are listening to this part of the episode, kind of follow along with me, for lack of a better term, in regards to this. So, and you, Brian, can interrupt me at any time if you have any questions or anything like that, because I think the notes I'm gonna say fill up about nearly 2 pages worth.
All right.
Oh, all right. So, according to according to reports by an independent arbitrator, it was found that the NFL encouraged teams to collude in decreasing guaranteed dollars in player contracts. The report, in short, did not, or the report found that that all 32 clubs did not engage in collusive conduct. Of course. So, and the NFL and NFLPA declined to comment when tried to be reached out on Tuesday. This ruling was kept a secret until Pablo Torre, who used to work for ESPN and hosts his own podcast now, published his findings
He's not
on.
with ESPN anymore. He's independent.
He is independent. Yes,
Wow,
he
good for
is.
him.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, ESPN laid off a lot of good people, which
Yeah.
includes him. He was funny.
Let's give another 10. Let's give another 100 million to Stephen A. Smith. That will get the
Yeah,
viewership up.
that'll yeah. I hate it. Their NBA coverage during the finals this year was just horrendous.
Don't
Not
worry, don't
fun.
worry. We'll have Kenny. We'll have the Kenny. I forgot all their names already.
Shaq, yeah,
Shaq,
Shaq,
Kenny,
Ernie,
all of them.
Kenny, Charles, yeah,
Ernie,
those
that's his
guys,
name.
the entertaining guys, those guys that actually know more ball than Stephen A,
You mean
Kendrick
the guys aren't
Perkins.
playing solitary during gameplay?
Yeah, that's when you know it's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
So the March 2022 meeting that was at the center of the arbitration claim with all the owners involved. This occurred shortly after the Cleveland Browns traded for and signed Deshaun Watson to that fully guaranteed $230 million deal over 5 years. Uh, Fast forward to today, that contract looks like crap, and Watson hasn't played to the level like he did with Houston during his time in Cleveland so far. So, because of that contract, teams or the NFL apparently encouraged teams to reduce guarantees and prevent the market from running its course. And along with that, prevent more contracts like Watson's to be handed out. Multiple players were affected by this alleged directive, which include Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray. These players, as we all know, signed massive extensions after the Deshaun Watson contract, but none of them received, 100% fully guaranteed deals like Watson did. And in 2022, at the time, Lamar's situation was a bit weird because Eric DaCosta, who is the Ravens GM, right? According to what I learned, he wasn't opposed he wasn't opposed to giving out fully guaranteed contracts, but he was hesitant to kind of guarantee money far out into the future. And he was talking about
which
like, oh
makes sense. That's
yeah,
in any sort of financial situation, whether that be sports or real world, there is always hesitant to give long term money over a long period of time because you don't know how that's going to evaluate. Well, let's just use Lamar Jackson. If you give Lamar
yes,
Jackson $300 million guaranteed for 5 years, and in year two of that deal, he has a Teddy Bridgewater type injury to his knee.
hmm
Well, we're not seeing Lamar for 2 years, and he's going to be a shell of himself, and we're going to give him, let's see, so 300 million times five, that's 60 million a year, right?
yeah,
My ass correct.
yeah,
Give him $60 million, and he's a shell of himself. I understand why there is hesitancy to do that.
hmm
Which is that's just smart business. What that is,
yeah, because you don't know what injuries he might suffer or
injuries,
how he'll look,
regression.
performance. Yeah,
We can't we can hope what a player is going to be in 5 years, but we don't know what they're going to be. We don't know how their body's going to react to football over that amount of time.
hmm
Football's the one sport where you get hit the right way, your career's over.
yeah. So, and that's what the Costa did mention how he noted why injuries were a concern to him, and going back to his Lamar's injury issues in 21 and 22 as reasons why he didn't want to give Lamar a fully guaranteed deal,
Which I
or a
don't like.
guaranteed deal in the
I would
first
say
place.
I don't blame him for that. Like I
Yeah,
know the NFL owners are going to look bad in this, but that
they
line
are.
of thinking I don't think is wrong.
But that's when it does start to get weird because he did
Yeah,
testify that Lamar was okay with getting a non-guaranteed contract. And if you
yeah.
think about it, it's like, no, why would a player ever accept a non-guaranteed contract? Like this is money. No, their money that we're talking
I
about
could
here.
see a not a fully guaranteed contract. I can see like
Yeah,
let's use the $300 million for another example. Let's say it's $300 million, but like
yeah,
200 of it is guaranteed. I can see you accepting that because like all right, I know I'm getting this chunk of money. The team's protected a little bit, but if I play well and I have longevity, I'm gonna make more money.
yeah. But it's like these players see Deshaun Watson's contract like
Yeah,
it's
no, yeah,
fully
it makes
guaranteed, and
total
it's just like
sense.
yeah, I'm better than Deshaun, and the quarterbacks I mentioned, Lamar and Kyler Murray, they're way better than Deshaun Watson,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why they
That's not saying much.
they want contracts like, yeah, but they want contracts like that. So Lamar, so when the Costa testified that Lamar didn't want to was or when Lamar was that oh my god when he testified that Lamar was okay with getting a non-guaranteed contract, that was counter argued by the fact that when Lamar was offered this non-guaranteed deal, he's obviously said no.
But that
And
could
that
be he said no because he felt the money was too low for it not being guaranteed.
hmm yeah. So a few teams, of course, during the offseason expressed interest in Lamar Jackson before a non-guaranteed tag was placed on him. But after the tender was placed, no one had interest whatsoever. By the way,
Oh
this
yeah.
non-exclusive tag, this means that this allows other NFL teams to negotiate with the no, it allows NFL teams to negotiate with um, a possible deal with Lamar. And if Lamar did receive another deal by a different team, the Ravens have the opportunity to match it and keep the star quarterback still and whatnot. However, the fact that no one had interest in a MVP, multiple time Pro Bowler at the time after the tender was placed was a bit weird, and I get it. That when a tender like this is placed on a player, it does come with some consequences because if you somehow manage to sign Lamar away from Baltimore, you do have to give up uh, a couple of multiple first round picks.
That's it.
you're risking the unique or him getting hurt because of the unique running style. But that's when I'm like, yeah, what? Listen, you're not gonna get a superstar potential Hall of Fame quarterback for nothing. Like it's not
Yeah.
gonna. You're gonna have to give something up. And with Atlanta, they're an example of a team who passed on Lamar, and they were like, "Yeah, we're concerned about the injury risk," which I get.
And they should, because they had
But
Michael Vick, who played a very similar style, and we saw how,
yeah,
if the dogfighting thing didn't happen, he probably would be a similar case study where it's like, all right, he's good, but there is that injury risk as always.
mhm. But you look at the quarterback situation at the time, and you're telling me they were okay with going to Desmond Ritter when you had the chance to get Lamar Jackson, and you're
I
telling me that the injury risk is concerning, and
Well,
we're
I
gonna
think
go to
it's the
Desmond
injury
Ritter.
risk, the amount of money he's going to get, and then the draft picks. Whereas,
I
like,
don't
but
care. You
that's
use us
but
Lamar Jackson.
right. But you have to think of it from their situation. If they put all this stock into Lamar Jackson and he does blow his knee out, well, now the franchise is done. They are out a lot of money. A lot of their cap space is dead, and they don't have the draft capital to go out and fix it. Whereas if you try Desmond Ritter out, you don't know what that is.
Mhm.
The risk is there, but if he does blow his knee out, all right, we have the money and the draft picks to go out and fix it.
But
Teams
I
are
think,
very Teams are very
yeah,
stingy with their draft picks.
yeah, no doubt,
Whether it's like or not, and the Falcons probably should have made an aggressive offer for Lamar.
indeed.
Giving up multiple first round picks is a big problem, especially for the Falcons.
Yeah, and of course that's obviously only if they were able to sign him away from Baltimore. But at the same time, it's like, look, Lamar isn't. We've se- Lamar runs a good amount, and as he should. That's what makes him special. He has a decent arm, and he can run with the football, and he's dangerous when he has the football and um in his hands, and he's taken off with his legs. Like I understand why that might scare teams, but like let's not act like Lamar is some erratic runner who's gonna run first chance he
No,
gets. Like he's a smart runner, and he hasn't suffered a major injury so far in his career this far. And obviously when he was trying to find a new deal, this was a few years ago. Fast forward to now, he hasn't got hurt in a major way. Yes, he's choked in the playoffs. That's the only major concern we have of him. If we're gonna find any flaws in him, it's literally that, just not performing in the playoffs when the Ravens need him most. But he hasn't got hurt in a major way. He's been smart when running with the football and sliding when needed, or getting out of bounds or whatnot, or taking contact when necessary. And especially if you're Atlanta, I'm like, dude, you have a chance, and all the other 30 teams that had a chance to get Lamar, you're telling, in terms of the court and the quarterbacks in this league, the only teams that I understand that you wouldn't take a chance on Lamar, the Chiefs, obviously, because they had Mahomes, the Bills, because they had Josh Allen. Who's another? Bengals, because they had Joe Burrow. I'm trying to think, is that it? Yeah, those are
I
three
think there's
teams.
more than that. There's way more than
The
three teams that would
Eagles,
do that.
Eagles four, Eagles
Eagles,
four.
I would say Cowboys would probably stick with Prescott. Niners would stick with Purdy. Um, Broncos with Bo Nix now. I would say
Well,
there's
at the
less.
time,
I would say there's less teams than you think that would take the chance of Lamar, because they're more comfortable with their quarterback situation and investing that money elsewhere.
but at the time though, so obviously Denver will be an example at the time.
At the
No, but
time,
no, they
yes,
had
but they had
Russ.
Russell Wilson. They were kind of stuck with that, so they really gonna
True,
get that money to another quarterback.
and he was involved too, and he was actually affected by the this whole collusion stuff as well. I don't have too many notes on him specifically, but he was
Mm-hmm.
also involved. Um, but I think I'd say to say probably less than 10 teams would not take Lamar. That leaves what, 2/3 of
I
the
had to
league
look at the quarterback situations of them back
at the
then,
time.
but
But
I
I'm
would
confident too
say
that
there's at least 10 teams that should have been interested.
yeah, no doubt. I think 2/3 of the league should have taken a chance on Lamar at the time, because Lamar is a top 10 quarterback, and it's safe to say you look at what. So let's just time's sake, let's just say 10 teams would be where we're comfortable with the quarterback situation at the time. That leaves 22 other teams that or 22 teams where Lamar is a better quarterback than whoever they had at the
Right,
time.
but
So,
just because Lamar's a better quarterback doesn't mean he fits the roster right then and there.
well, I mean, he's not. He would be an upgrade that could
It'd
help.
be an upgrade, but it's almost like let's use the Niners as an example. Lamar Jackson is a better quarterback than Brock Purdy, yes?
Yes.
But Brock Purdy is good enough to get them where they need to go so they can use the money elsewhere and not duplicate an already position they're fine with. Like
Yeah,
just because they don't have a top 10 quarterback doesn't mean they're not good. Like look at the Steelers this past year. I think they played decently with Russ under center.
yeah, true. They
That's
were.
that's kind of where I'm getting at. Is just because he's a top 10 quarterback and would be an upgrade doesn't mean it's the right move because they might have a quarterback they're okay with starting. Like
That
Detroit.
they're yeah.
Detroit. Lamar Jackson is a major upgrade over Jared Goff. But Jared Goff works in Detroit, and then they can use the money to give to Jared Goff to go out and upgrade other positions to make the team better.
Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's like it's Lamar Jackson, and I understand that the quarterback situation on teams like Detroit and SF, you'll be comfortable with that. I get that, but still, the Lamar on your team can take your team to the next level because of
Right,
how
but
he
also
plays.
use that money to other positions can
I
take
know,
that team to the next level as
I
well.
know,
And
yeah,
it's a more well-rounded team rather than just relying on Lamar Jackson, who has proven you can't rely on him in the playoffs.
that is true. But then you could say the same for guys like Goff, who hasn't also performed in the playoffs or did make the Super Bowl,
He made
lost
Super Bowl, he made two conference championship
championships.
games,
Brock Purdy lost Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
Yeah, so
And
all three.
probably and could have won that as a championship game had he not needed Tommy John surgery.
That is true. That's true. The Eagles, yeah, that was a tough game for Niners fans right there. Was it? Yeah, Purdy's rookie season was when he suffered that injury. So, but yeah, without, of course, any other deal during the time from other teams, Lamar lost the ability to leverage other contracts and possibly um, use, like I mentioned, what's it called? These other contracts that he could have possibly gotten from these other teams potentially could have been fully guaranteed, uh, and could have used that in negotiations with the Ravens. But at the end of the day, Lamar would sign, of course, a 5-year, $260 million deal, 185 of it being fully guaranteed. So that's that. The next two players affected, I kind of have a better understanding of how the collusion affected them and actually
Mm-hmm.
affected them more than how it affected Lamar. So Kyler Murray and his agent, Eric Burkhart, asked for a fully guaranteed contract after the Deshaun Watson deal. Burkhart felt that his client was a better player and more deserving of one compared to Watson. He is, let's be honest. The Cardinals were opposed to giving a fully guaranteed contract. Oh, big surprise. At the end of the day, Murray would sign a 5-year, $230.5 million contract extension worth up to $238 million through salary escalators. And you're probably wondering what's a salary escalator. Basically, it's a salary increase that will increase based on achieving specific performance benchmarks. And this extension, by the way, was signed at the end of July in 22. This contract included $160 million in overall guarantees, where $103 million is fully guaranteed, or was fully guaranteed at signing. However, we're talking about a $230 million deal with only 116 in overall guarantees. That is a $70 million difference, right there, of total contract value that could become lost to Murray if the Cardinals ever do cut him. So this unprecedented, and what's it called? This contract was weird too at the time, because it had a clause that required 4 hours at least of independent study.
I mean, if you need to put into a contract of independent study, I don't think you deserve a long-term contract on a
Yeah,
fully guaranteed
that's what
deal.
it's
Like
like.
if you're film studying, and we've seen it in the past with guys like Johnny Manziel and Jamarcus Russell of not watching film, if you don't want to watch film, and Kyler Murray has the joke about how when Call of Duty comes out, his numbers take that dip. If that's a problem, then I see why the Cardinals were hesitant to give him a long-term contract.
However,
Because why you want to sink that money into a guy that might flame out like Johnny Manziel because he's just not watching film and doing what the team asked him.
and I remember at the time that this was announced about when the clause was mentioned in the contract, everyone's like, "Oh yeah, Kyler's too focused on Call of Duty, blah blah blah." Well, so as we know, the clause was removed from the contract a few days later because the distraction it caused. However, this clause of sorts that was added was from what I found not because of what Murray didn't do, but rather the Cardinals just trying to do whatever it took to not give their quarterback as much money as possible. In text messages that were leaked between Cardinals owner Michael Bidwell and then GM at the time Steve Kine, a message or something was said. I can't even talk today. Holy crap! There was a text message that said, "quote We're going to load the contract with so many incentives possible to make him earn the real money." And I'm like, oh, so it's not that Murray didn't watch film, but rather they're throwing on all these like
No, that's
random
different.
incentives to like try to what's it called, prevent from themselves giving Murray as much guaranteed money as possible. And then after the deal was done, with Murray, Chargers GM Dean Spanos texted Bidwell saying,
That's owner. Dean Spanos is the owner.
"What did I say? GM?
Yeah.
My apologies." Spanos, the owner of the Chargers, texted Bidwell saying, "quote Congrats on signing Murray." And then Bidwell says, "Thanks, Dino. These quarterback deals are expensive, but we limited the fully guaranteed money and had some pretty good language. Thankfully, we have a quarterback worth paying." Spanos responds, "Your deal helps us for our quarterback next year." Which Bidwell then responds, "I think many teams will be happy with it once they have a chance to review. Cleveland really screwed things up, but I was resolved to keep the guaranteed money relatively low." If you think about it too, all these NFL teams are competing against each other. So you're hoping the other team is bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yet you're working together to keep these players' contracts as low as possible. This is why all this is weird from what I'm understanding. Speaking of Spanos and the Chargers, Justin Herbert also signed an extension back in the start of training or on the start of training camp in 2023. 5 years, 262.5 million. That's about 52.5 million per year, worth a maximum of 265 million through salary escalators. This deal had 193 million in guarantees. 133 was guaranteed at signing, and of course, up to 218 can become fully guaranteed, which includes 25 million of his $47 million salary in 28. But of course, comes with some extra stuff. So this the 25 million, the 25 of his $47 million salary in 28 becomes guaranteed for injury in March 2026 and fully guaranteed in March 2027. So what does that mean? I literally had to use ChatGPT because I was so freaking confused at the whole contract language stuff. It's insane. If Justin Herbert suffered a serious injury and can't play in 26, then 25 million of that salary is protected. But if he plays in 26, that money is not guaranteed and has to wait till next year in 27. So in 27, if he obviously is still on the team and healthy by the third day of the 2027 league year, then that same 25 million then becomes fully guaranteed no matter what. So this contract is saying he has to get hurt in 26 to guarantee that he'll get paid 25 million in 28. But if he's healthy in 26, then he won't get that money until 27. Like he's not guaranteed that money until 27.
That's weird contract language.
That's what I'm saying. That this is what injury guarantees are apparently are when it comes to this contract stuff. So I said a lot of crap, and for the past 15, 20 minutes that you guys are listening to this, you're probably wondering, what the heck is this? In short, the NFL contracts are complicated. There's so much extra shit that's put into these contracts that players have to accomplish or have to go through before they get this money. And look, I get that the Deshaun Watson deal was one really bad. Two,
Yeah.
if you know,
It was bad for the moment he signed it. Everyone, I think the initial reaction of everyone was this is going to be a
yeah,
terrible contract.
and mess up the whole quarterback market. I get it, but for all this stuff to come out in regards to Lamar and Murray's contract, this is a bad look for owners in the
Mm-hmm.
NFL as a whole because it wasn't okay. And I mentioned in the beginning, it wasn't found that the teams engaged in collusive conduct, but text messages between Spanos and Bidwell, stuff like that says otherwise, and who knows what other text messages may have been sent between owners that we don't know yet. But like this is bad because you're as a league, you're telling teams, hey, take away as much guaranteed money as possible from these players that and I'm not saying like, oh, all players deserve fully guaranteed contract, but there's some who are one better than Deshaun Watson and two have
Yeah.
accomplished more in this league that they deserve fully guaranteed money or a lot or no, a lot of guaranteed money
Right.
in
But
the
at the
first
same
place.
time, teams shouldn't have to pay because the Browns were stupid.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. But still, it's you should be giving your players as much
Yeah,
security
you
as
should give it
like
what
you take like
what
especially
they're
like yeah
worth. You should be
yeah,
giving what
like
they're
the
worth.
best players. Like you like not like I said, not every single player deserves fully like 100% guaranteed contracts, but at least your best players deserve the most, or not just the most, but also the most reasonable amount of guaranteed money as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Like not as like with like back to Murray's contract with, with 160 million guaranteed and a 200 a total of 230 million dollars in terms of his contract. That's a 70 million dollar difference there that he could have gotten guaranteed money. I'm not saying give him the full 230, but I don't know, maybe 200 because he's better than
Right,
Deshaun
but
Watson.
that also could be on, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here. That could be on Murray's camp going, we're not budging off 230. That's the lowest we're going to go. And this was the
Mm-hmm.
compromise between the two
True.
sides. Like, okay, well, we'll do this much guaranteed, and then it can exceed to this much if you prove it to us.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with Murray. Like, Murray's a good quarterback, but like he does come with question marks, and I think
Yeah.
we still don't know what type of quarterback he is.
Yeah. So, at the end of the day, look, we see every offseason, every year we see players get like big contracts, and I was like, oh yeah, they're gonna get or from the average fan probably thinks like, oh yeah, they're gonna get the full 230 or 220 or however whatever the number may be in terms of the contract. But I think it's we need to understand that these players aren't promised all of the big money that isn't that are in these contracts, and there's always something to them, right? Like Kyler Murray's contract, because there's incentives that he needs to reach or things that need to happen and stuff like that. And you know, at the end of the day, these young quarterbacks that want a new deal may not be confident now because of what has come out in regards to Lamar and Kyler, that their team is trying that the NFL team that they're on is trying to give them the best deal possible. So as of this time, players are exploring legal action, and it hasn't been reported that he will do so. But Justin Herbert, based off the text messages that we talked about, would be the perfect plaintiff. Plaintiff. Yeah, plaintiff. My apologies. To be involved in all of this. So I know I said a lot. If I was confusing, I do apologize. It was a bit new to me to discuss as well. But I did want to mention that because this does paint the NFL or paint a bad look for the NFL.
Yeah, it's not a good look. Anytime you have collusions for players to make less money, That's not a look you want on your league at all.
Yeah. So I hope you guys followed along with me. If not, of course, there's articles out there as well, and whatnot. But yeah, just wanted to get that out there. And yeah, like I said, I'm not the best. I spent like literally a whole hour trying to. I was looking through all the articles about it, and using ChatGPT to like break complicated
Break
down,
it down.
to break it down and all that stuff. So, but it definitely a serious topic, no doubt about it, to discuss, because that, like I said, this the NFL does not look good. Definitely based off this 61-page report that was released. Um, so anyways, we'll shift the subject now from the NFL to the college football landscape. This is more of a fun one to discuss here. As on Tuesday we talked about second-year NFL players to watch out for this upcoming season, and today we're going to delve into the college football landscape a little bit, where we will discuss some some college quarterbacks to watch out for this upcoming year. Very excited to see these guys, or to see these guys and see how they do this upcoming year, and whatnot. So, Brian, we'll start with you. Who are five quarterbacks on your list that
All right,
you'll be?
so this is in no particular order. This is not 1 through 5. This is just 5 guys I'm excited to watch. Number one, I get CJ Carr from Notre Dame.
Of course.
It says right there, big Notre Dame guy. We've been hearing about CJ Carr for years. He's been like the prince that was promised. This is going to be one of the greatest quarterbacks we've had probably since like Brady Quinn. This kid is something special. 4-star recruit coming out of college, high school. Many thought he would be a 5-star recruit. Praised in high school for his maturity, passing mechanics, accuracy, and his arm. Also can scramble when need to, but we're not going to be doing design run plays with him. He's going to be more extending plays and getting out if need be. In his senior year, he had 199 completions on 229 attempts, 2,754 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. This is going to be a guy that I'm excited for day one. Will step into Notre Dame and be a star. Number two, I have Garrett Nussmeier of LSU. This is my favorite quarterback in the upcoming draft class. Had the Giants not drafted Dart, I probably would be all in on this guy. Led the SEC in pass attempts, pass completions, and unfortunately interceptions. Had 12 last year, so needs to take that out of his game. But he did have 4,052 receiving passing yards and 29 touchdowns. Brian Kelly being head coach kind of prevents him for those big time moments, but still excited to see what he does as Moore's going to sling the ball down there in Baton Rouge. Sawyer Robinson of Baylor. Baylor had a surprising turnaround season after Robinson was named quarterback one. 229 completions on 368 attempts, 3,071 yards, 28 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. He's good. His bread and butter is that short intermediate pass. Needs to improve his footwork a little bit, but he will be very exciting to watch. Number four is Lenore Sanders of South Carolina. Basically, the comp is Jalen Milroe with better passing. 196 completions, 2,534 yards, 18 touchdowns, 7 picks. That averages out to about 340 yards a game. Bit inconsistent at times, but he also has very high rushing upside, rushing for 674 yards and 7 touchdowns. If South Carolina is big in the SEC this year, it's because Sanders took another step in his game. And then four, give me Sam Leavitt of Arizona State. Led Arizona State to a Big Ten championship last year, appeared in the college football playoffs. 216 completions, 2,885 yards, 24 touchdowns, 16 interceptions, 443 rushing yards, and 5 touchdowns. We'll have to see if he can repeat that. But if he can, he'll turn some scouts' heads.
Lenore Sellers, right? Or Sanders?
Sanders. Or maybe it might be Sellers.
I think it's Sellers, isn't it?
I think I might have wrote his name down wrong. Lenore Sellers.
Hold on.
My bad.
Nah, you good. I was just making sure. Yeah, speaking of college, I was looking through Twitter real quick while you were discussing your list real quick, because I was trying to see any notable. I've gotten notifications about like NBA draft stuff, so I'm trying to see. I mean, by the way, we won't discuss too much of the NBA draft because it hasn't concluded quite yet.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a funny graphic that I just saw. Apparently, Mississippi State posted a graphic of themselves and how I guess they're one of the toughest places to play in CFB 26.
Mississippi
But
State, really?
yeah, apparently,
That place sucks.
and I don't know why, but it's one of the toughest places to play according to the game. But the
Mississippi
funny,
State is like is the SEC fans I get mad at for saying SEC is the best. Alabama wins. Like, you're Mississippi State. Shut up.
yeah, well,
What have you
apparently,
done?
well, trust me, they haven't. That what their
You get
actions
the
were
stupid
questioned.
cowbells. That's all you have.
Yeah, their actions were questionable because so they have the graphic of a Mississippi State player, hyping the crowd up, and you have the what's the meter
Stadium Pulse,
the
yeah.
stadium pulse, yeah. And then it says top 20 or number 25 toughest places to play. But in the background, it's Kevin Jennings, but it's Kevin Jennings from when he played against Penn State, not against Mississippi State. Make it make sense.
Mississippi State grasping at anything. That's what it
I
is.
know. I don't know. But no. Back to the topic here, because I was looking through for Twitter for any more notes or any more headlines. First off, Nussmeier, he's one guy that I'm looking forward to watch as well. Like you mentioned, someone that the Giants could have potentially had an eye on if we didn't draft Jackson Dart in this past draft. Sellers is a guy from South Carolina. Interested to see what he does in the SEC once again for the Gamecocks. Levet led the Sun Devils to the playoffs last year. And of course, our very own Cam Scatterbo was part of that playoff team as well. But Levet definitely had a heck of a season for Arizona State. And then, of course, CJ Carr, I should say. First year, right? It's going to be his
first year as a starter. Yep.
Yeah. So that's going to be fun to watch.
Barring any last minute changes, he caused Steve Angeli to transfer. The guy that came in during the Orange Bowl and maybe had, you could argue, the most important drive of that Notre Dame playoff run, because that kind of brought us back into the game.
That was clutch. Yeah, he was like 7 for 8.
He was
and
6 for 7.
Yeah,
6 for 7. And if you remember, the offense was kind of stuck in neutral. And when he kind of came in, it changed things up. I remember at halftime going like, do you start him second half and you sit Leonard for a little bit? Because it's just not working with Leonard right now. It worked with Angeli.
Yeah. Of course, as we all know, Leonard did come back and
he played well. He played well that second half. Yep. He earned it.
But it's like, what if Angeli was forced to play the rest of that second half? Would the Irish still would have won based on what we saw in that first half when he had to come in? Probably. So, yeah. All right, for me, my list consists not in order, but in terms of who I'm looking forward to watching the most to least. But one of them is Carson Beck from Miami. No sugarcoating it. He was bad at Georgia last year. No doubt about it. Forced a lot of throws and did have some poor decisions made.
He's Bo Callahan. He's Bo Callahan is what he is. He's the real life Bo Callahan based off that video with the Miami Twins.
Yeah, damn right. However, I wouldn't say all the blame was on him. Some of it can be contributed to the fact that the receiving core he had to work with was complete trash. 31 drops were made by Georgia receivers last year, which was one of the highest amongst all teams in the college football landscape. Even with the struggles he had, he still did 28 touchdowns for the Bulldogs last year, which was a career high for him, and an 80.2 Pro Football Focus passing grade. Goes to a new team now. He goes from the SEC to the ACC, so a bit of a weaker conference between. And if we had to compare the two, joins a Miami team that had Cam Ward on their roster last year, so he'll definitely have to live up to expectations there. But I do think we should expect a bounce back year from him. Better core around him in Miami, and definitely a weaker schedule for sure compared to what he would have had to deal with if he was still on the Georgia team this year. So looking forward to see what if Beck can bounce back from what was not the best year for him last year. Another guy to watch out for me is Drew Aller from Penn State. There were a few murmurs last year where it was like he might
was going to go out and be like the third quarterback off the board.
Yeah. And if he declared last year, he was one guy where I was like, maybe we would take him. Who knows? I don't know. Possibly.
I mean, he arguably I mean, based on what Sanders stuff happened, he's the second quarterback off the board.
True. So he probably would have gone to
He
the
probably would have gone.
to
The Giants could pick him at 3, or maybe we had to trade up earlier, not trade up at 25. We'd trade to like 16.
Because if he would have been there at 3, because what's it called?
Everyone would have been there at
Jacksonville.
3.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, literally everyone was. But yeah, there were talks last season if he was going to declare early and enter the
There's also
draft
a
and
possibility
whatnot.
that the Titans fall in love with him and Cam Ward falls to us at 3.
Oh, that would have been, whoo. But that would have changed everything because we wouldn't have
Then there's
got
no Carter,
Abdul.
then there's
Damn. So thankfully
the butterfly
things
effect.
thankfully things turned out the way they did for us. But at that final game of the year against Notre Dame, where he was just, it was against Notre Dame, right? If I'm not mistaken, that final game of the season for him.
Drow, yeah.
Yeah. He had a 36.6 Pro Football Focus score, so that kind of changed a lot of people's thoughts. Where it's like, yeah,
Well, he had
never
that bad
mind.
interception to Christian Gray in the
Yeah,
fourth quarter.
I know you're happy for that when
Well,
that
that was
happened,
awesome.
by the way. But that definitely changed the game against the Irish. Definitely changed a lot of people's minds as to whether he should declare for the draft or not, for sure. And that game is most likely why he's decided to stay another year with the Nittany Lions. But there's no, he shouldn't be criticized too much. He still led Penn State to the college football semifinals. And according to Pro Football Focus, was the 6th most valuable quarterback according to wins above replacement, or in regards to wins above replacement, and that metric. So has a rifle of an arm, no doubt about it. Has a solid roster around him. He definitely is one guy to watch as he would try to lead the Lions to a national championship. The receiving core is led by a guy I like a lot. His name is Trevor Pena, who was a Syracuse transfer. Was the wide receiver number 1 for Syracuse last year, and it was very productive as well. So I'm excited to see what he can do with Aller as his quarterback compared to Kyle McCord, who had a heck of a year last year himself and is now with the Eagles. And of course, Arch Manning. Crazy how he only started 3 games last year, and he's a favorite to win the Heisman this year. Yeah. It's insane.
It's the last name.
Yeah, and there's a lot of hype around him. No doubt about it. The son of Cooper Manning and the nephew of Peyton and Eli Manning, of course.
And the grandson of Archie.
Indeed. Yes, sir. The grandson of Archie. He had an 88.1 Pro Football Focus grade last year for Texas. Started 3 games, of course, for the Longhorns because Ewers was out with an injury, but played well. Had 8 touchdowns compared to 2 interceptions combined against teams such as UTSA, Louisiana Monroe, and Mississippi State. Not the most intimidating of teams, but you play the teams on your schedule, and he succeeded against those teams. Arm talent, mobility is what makes him stand out, of course, because his uncles Peyton and Eli did not have mobility whatsoever. We would freaking know. We barely saw Eli run.
If Eli was running, it was must-watch television.
Oh yeah, for sure. That was like the headline of the game if Eli was running. When he sort of rushed a touchdown, that was like one of the best things to see because he just never did that. But yes, as he enters his first full year as Texas' starting quarterback, he'll be a player to watch as he will also attempt to lead Longhorns to a national championship because that's the goal of every college program, of course. But Arch will be one name to watch as well. And we'll see if he can perform at the level like he did last year against tougher teams in the SEC. Diego Pavia is another SEC quarterback to watch as well, coming from Vanderbilt. Many recognize his name when he led the Commodores to an upset over, at the time, number 1 Alabama. 40 to 35 was the final score there. He went 16 of 20 for 252 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, and also ran for 56 yards on the ground. Had a 85.0 Pro Football Focus grade last year for Vanderbilt, which was 10th best in the nation, and had 683 rushing yards after contact, which led all Power 4 conferences. Not crazy numbers though. Had 20 touchdowns, but had just 4 interceptions, which shows he's not a turnover. He doesn't throw a lot of or cause a lot of turnovers. Yeah.
He's smart with the football.
Come on, Nate, make it simple. Sheesh. Thank you, Brian. And he led the Commodores to a 7-6 record last year in a bowl win over Virginia Tech. So we'll see if he can rise up draft boards this year. And then finally, we have a guy who was well known this offseason because of him and Tennessee's weird NIL situation. Nico,
the first ever trade in college football history.
Indeed, yeah, because
The
the
UCLA quarterback
quarterback
from
who's
Tennessee.
going to start, yeah, went to Tennessee. But Nico Amaliva transfers to the Bruins after NIL issues with the Volunteers. As we all know, he did lead the Volunteers to the college football playoffs, but went just 14-31 for 104 yards against Ohio State in the shoe. Not a pretty sight. Plus, yeah, playing in the shoe is never fun if you're the away team. But
Yeah.
he's still, statistically wise, he threw for over
Yeah, but
2,600.
that's also really, really funny because Tennessee came into that game like we're gonna run in with our shirts off, and like that's always the image. They never show you what happened when the camera went away. You know what happened when the camera moved?
Or
They all
shivering
put
and
shirts on. They all put like heavy layers on.
they're like, yeah, never
They
mind. We're
couldn't
just gonna
handle the
bundle
cold.
back up. Yeah, they're trying to act like a tough guy just for them to legit have Ohio State just beat the crap out of him.
Yep.
But yeah, Nico, it wasn't that great last year for the Volunteers. Had over 2,600 passing yards, had 19 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. So similar to what Pavia did, but I'm not saying that Pavia had a standout season, but he did have some notable performances but comparison to Amaliva, he was okay. But
Mm-hmm.
obviously, transferring was the biggest headline in regards to his name, and he does have the physical tools to make him a name for himself as a top prospect to enter next year's draft. But because he is eligible to leave, he is a redshirt sophomore. Yes, redshirt sophomore. So, but I don't know. We'll see what he can do here as he goes from the SEC to the Big Ten, and will play for a UCLA team that, let's be
Feels
honest,
so
doesn't have a
disgusting. They're in the Big
lot of.
Ten.
I'm sorry.
It's so disgusting. They're in the Big Ten.
I know. Oh, no doubt about it. The Pac-12's coming back though.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Texas State is reportedly going to join.
oh, I like that. They played. What would they play? What are they playing right now?
Like they think they play. They either play the Sun Belt or the Mountain West. I think it's the Sun Belt though.
Sun Belt. I think. No, yeah, Sun Belt sounds familiar. Yeah.
I don't know. I changed conference so much in NCAA that I can't even tell you who. Like I don't play the super conferences. I play like it's like 1998. Like I got the Pac-12 back. I got I got the Big East in there.
Yeah. How conferences are
How
supposed
conferences
to
should
be.
be.
California teams are in the Pac-12, not in the Big Ten.
Yes, I have.
That's
Yes,
not,
the
that,
Pac-12. I even threw like Texas A&M back in the Big 12. Like I really went
that's where they
old school
belong.
with it.
Yeah, that's where they belong, no doubt. So yeah, those are my 5 quarterbacks. And yeah, we'll see how these guys perform, man. Looking forward to this upcoming college football season. It's always hype. But what's also good to see is the Mets finally
They
winning
won
a
a
game.
game. They won a game.
They won a game, and Juan Soto, heck of a performance, my friend. 2 homers last night against the Braves, if I'm not mistaken. And
Yes, 2 solo shots.
yes, sir. And from what I heard, he is the first Met in history to have 10 home runs, 20 runs, and 20 walks in a calendar month. So shout out to the
Yes.
young man.
Well, we'll do a little trigger warning real quick. If you're Michael K, or if you're one of the Yankee fans or a baseball fan in general that was buying this narrative that Juan Soto was unhappy with the Mets and all that stuff that was coming off that Yankee series, you might want to turn away because this will break your brain and make you question everything. Since the start of June, Juan Soto is currently batting 325, 485, and has a 753. That's an OPS. That's an OPS of 1238. 10 dingers, 18 RBIs, 23 walks, 22 runs, only 15 strikeouts, and leads the MLB in WRC plus for the month of June. I forgot the exact number. I believe it's like 232 around then. And it's not just that. You look at Juan Soto. He's having fun in the dugout doing the water bottle flip. He's posing with Marte on home runs and stuff. He's high-fiving fans. The other night when he hit a home run in the against the Braves when they lost 3-2, he actually high-fived a fan on his way into the dugout. So this stupid narrative that Juan Soto was miserable with the Mets, if it wasn't already made up in May, it is absolutely dead. And anyone pushing it has lost all credibility. Michael K. But regardless, yeah, Mets won. We're 1-1 since we last talked. We should have won on Tuesday, but a complete bullpen meltdown. Frankie Montoya, why rehab stats don't matter. Pitched 5 brilliant innings. Fastball looked great. Was just baffling Braves hitters. I think he had a 50% chase rate, a 50% whiff rate on it. Good to see that. if we can stretch him out a little bit more, because he only threw like 79 pitches, I want to say. But hey, first start back, it was actually the hottest game in Citi Field history. So, don't want to push him, get hot, and get him hurt again. If he can stretch it out so he goes just like 6-7 innings, that's a reliable starter. That makes the rotation, which was a big question mark I had, it eases my concern a little bit. Just sucks the bullpen kind of imploded and cost us the win. But rebounded nicely last night. 7 runs. I know the Braves pitcher had a 7 ERA, but hey, that's what we just need. We just needed that big offensive explosion. Maybe it gets the monkey off of that. Maybe it makes us, relax a little bit. We stop pulling so hard. We stop pressing so hard, and we can kind of play baseball the way we have been. Speaking of the bullpen, I do want to give a shout out to Jose Butto real quick. In his last few outings, he's pitched 13 in the third innings, no runs, 13 strikeouts, only 5 walks, 5 hits, and 3 outings of 2+ innings. He has been really reliable in a stretcher when you're just, on pins and needles the entire time the bullpen's pitching, because they've just been horrific. Butto has actually stepped up and been a guy we can trust. And hopefully he can carry us out for the rest of the season, because we need as many arms as we can right now. We don't know. Going forward, that split tonight, we need it. Mark Vientos is coming back. We don't know if he's going to come back today or tomorrow, but it feels like this Braves series, I know we've lost 2 games, and Tuesday nights, the box score doesn't look as good. But if you actually sat down and watch it, this team has been playing better. They're more competitive. Like, Tuesday night only looks bad because the bullpen gave up, I think, 6 runs in the 6th inning. That's the reason why that score looks so bad. You take out that, and the Mets win that game 4-1. So we're playing better. Got a few more kinks to work out. Still got some stuff to address at the deadline, but hopefully we are about to break out. We got split today with the Braves, 3 of the Pirates coming up. We could beat up on them, and then go back to Citi Field for the Brewers and Yankees, and hopefully get hot.
Hopefully get hot. Hey, Juan Soto's getting hot, so he's
Soto's
been
red hot right now.
He's
this is the
hot,
Juan Soto we were expecting.
Yes, sir. I can't believe it. It's already we're already halfway through the season now. And that's.
But it's so funny. Like, Juan Soto had a bad start. His numbers are already fixed. The batting average is still a little low, but it's knocking on 260 right now. He'll get that up by 270 by July.
23 games, man, in the month of June. 10 homers. It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
10 home runs, 18 RBIs.
I think he's settled in. I think he's comfortable now.
That's what we like to see. It's like to see. Mets at this time 47-34. Still second in the East, but just half a game back of the Philadelphia.
Doesn't matter. It's remember, it's June 26th.
It's June 20. We got a long way to go, and honestly, at this point, the race for the East is between the Phillies and the Mets. Yes. So there's no worries there.
The Braves are, I think, 11 games back, if I want to say. I don't want to call the Braves dead yet, because I've had that blown up my face way too many times.
They're getting there.
But they're getting there.
They're getting there. Yeah. The Marlins and Nationals are 13 and 14 and a half games back, respectively, so they have a chance.
The Nationals are a fun team, but they're not that great. Marlins suck.
Yeah. Speaking
Stowers is good, though, on the Marlins. I like him a lot.
Is he young, or is he like a
he was the throw-in piece in the Zach Eflin trade last year.
Okay. Is he someone worth trade deadline?
No, they're not trading him. He's 24 years old.
Never mind.
He's the face of the Marlins franchise going forward.
Alrighty.
He's like 6 years of control left, I think.
Never mind on that then. But let's see real quick. You mentioned bullpen, so I heard you guys. So I was reading an article when you were.
Pour one out to our guy, Richard.
Dicky Lovelady. Gosh dang it, man. Pour
out to our guy.
Man, he barely lasted
he pitched 2 innings.
How'd he do?
Not good. Give it 2 runs.
Oh. Yeah, never mind. I see why. But yeah, Lovelady's DFA, Jose Castillo's DFA, but you guys
Thank God I was done with Castillo. He kind of sucked.
But you guys called up Jonathan Pintaro and Brandon Wadwell from AAA Syracuse.
Yeah, but Wadwell's been here. He's kind of a long man swing guy. He's been here. He's pitched a few games for us. He's decent.
Okay. And then Pintaro, in 11 starts, pitched a 3.4 ERA and a 1.11 WHIP, and with 57 strikeouts. He's been a starter, but he will pitch the bullpen for the Mets. Mm-hmm. And then, Yeah, Castillo, rough outing on Tuesday night. Three inherited runners. He allowed three inherited runners to score, and was charged two more earned runs. And the Braves. Oh, yeah, never mind. I see why you defade him too.
Mm-hmm.
So makes sense. Alrighty, well that'll do it. Here, and then also Bobby Witt was announced that he will play for Team USA.
Hey, there
Yeah,
we go.
so that makes three players. So Judge, Witt, and Schemes will
And
be
Trout
playing.
too, if he's healthy.
Yes, hasn't been announced quite yet, but
But he
he's
said he's going to
good.
do it.
He's going to. Yeah, sir. Stay healthy, boy, please. And
Oh,
yeah, that.
he said he wants to, so I can't imagine him not being picked.
Okay. Well, stay healthy, please. We
Mm-hmm.
could use him. Maybe as the DH, maybe.
Yeah, it'll be a
No,
DH. He's not
because
playing the outfield. It'll be
no,
DH.
I do not want him out there. No, sir. If he's out there, that's a risk of injury. So.
Yep.
Alrighty, let's move on to our pickle segment. There's no other headlines. I mean, NBA draft. Congrats to Cooper Flag. Yay. First round pick, our first overall pick. Was I think Dylan Harper was the second overall pick, going to San Antonio. So they have a young court over there that will be worth monitoring as well. Seems like more headlines were on Harper's mom compared to
Who was that? Who got picked by Toronto?
Oh, Colin.
Yeah, he did not seem happy with that.
Yeah, when you see the player saying the F word after being drafted by Toronto, that's when yeah,
That's not gonna work out.
Nah. I'm trying to see if I can get his full name here. Colin Murray Boyles, 6'7" wing. Ultimately, yeah, he's. It's more of the worry about him is that he needs to develop his shot, but he is a great defender. But he at this time can't shoot, so that's great.
Not important in basketball.
Yeah, 9th overall pick, by the way.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah, and what's it called? Yeah, in regards to Harper, so it was funny. I guess the mom looked young and looked good, and everyone was like, "Yeah, like Dylan Harper's mom looks like that," and I'm sitting back like, you know what? She's Asian, and I like that crap. That's what I'm talking about. Us Asians, man, we looking good out there for sure. We getting some representation up in here. Also, speaking of Asians, I guess there was a Chinese player. I forgot what his name was. Who took him again? The Blazers. That's what it was. They took his name is Hansen Yang at 16th overall. 7'1" big body center from China. He was sitting with the crowd and got drafted. Yeah. So
I love that. That's awesome.
Most teams had him as a second round pick.
He's like, yes, I did it.
I did it. And everyone's like, who the heck is this guy?
Yeah. That guy's got to stop drinking.
Apparently he's a lot of people saw him as like a draft and stash player. He's not explosive or an average NBA athlete. He's not a great defender outside the paint. Post up scorer in China.
Why they draft him?
Yeah, I don't know. He's mostly a post up scorer. I guess the Blazers think he'll be an NBA rotation player, but there's going to be a lot of work that needs to be done if they want to. I don't know. Maybe he's 7'1", so hands up, I guess, to play defense.
I guess.
Look, I had no interest in the NBA draft yesterday. Like I was literally
No.
watching the draft stream on YouTube with numbers on the board. Their podcast. Shout out to Kenny and his team. My Lakers don't pick until today, and apparently we made a trade. We traded the 55th pick and some cash to jump to 45. Cool. I don't care about the draft whatsoever. The NBA draft, the NFL draft is fun, obviously, but the NBA draft, unless my team is bad, and the MLB draft are the two drafts I do not watch, nor do I care about, especially the MLB draft, because like they all go to the minors anyways.
They're not seeing him for 5 years.
Yeah, unless you're the Reds with Chase Burns. I think he was drafted last year by them, and then made
Well,
us.
there's exceptions, but we
There are exceptions.
most of the time you're not seeing for 3 or 4 years.
Indeed, there's always a waiting period when it comes to these players
Yep.
that get drafted. So, alrighty, let's go to pickle, my friend. Let's get it going. Starting next week, I think we'll be starting our NFL division previews.
Nice.
We will let you guys know. All right, first guess, my guy. You're
Jose
up
Budo.
first. Alrighty, probably
Mr.
not gonna
Budo.
be him. If it is, I'll end the stream right now or end the video right now. See him on here?
Yeah.
Oh, right there. There we go.
Wow. Okay.
And an East player. I got you, Aaron Nola. I got the age at least. It's not a Met or a Philly, my friend. So it's either a Marlin, a National, or a Brave.
Matt Olson.
He's
the lefty.
Yeah.
U.S. Sean
player.
Murphy's too young. Acuna's too young.
Murphy's old.
No, Sean Murphy, I think, is like in his. I mean, look it up. I could have sworn Sean Murphy was like 26.
He is 30.
30. Oh, yeah, give him a shot.
You sure?
Yeah. With that.
Very nice. You've been on a tear. We've been getting these done fast. I will say. You've been on a tear, my friend. I like that. But yeah, alrighty. That will do it for this episode. Episode 18 of season 3. We appreciate you guys' support as always. You can follow us on our social media. You can follow me at Nathan_Nguyen24. You can follow Brian at BrianPD1016. You can follow our podcast page at 30SM Pod on all platforms: the Twitter, the Instagram, the TikTok, and the YouTube as well. You can find our article work along with the other podcasts of the network, and of course our amazing writers at Belly Up as well at bellyupsports.com. We'll likely start team previews next week. Starting we'll let you guys know.
We'll play it by
ear. Yeah, we'll play it by ear indeed, because it's gonna be the first week of July next week. But we also have college football to discuss as well. So a lot of things to discuss, but we'll get it all figured out, and we'll let you guys know what's going on. But for Brian, I'm Nate. Thank you guys so much for your support and for listening. As always, make sure to like and subscribe if you have not, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.